Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to CAD 2. We're going to start with some review drawings here. The first one looks like that. But before we even get started with the drawing, I want to just go over a few things on how to get AutoCAD set up and get the CAD borders open. So to find all that information, if you're at home using the Canvas page, you can click to view the course details. And if you scroll down to Module 3, here's the CAD borders. And if you are using the remote desktop, there's the link for it right there. So you would sign into this using the HTML access and log into a computer at school. Once you have AutoCAD open, you're going to want to start with the CAD borders. So I can click on that and I can download it. And it should open up right in AutoCAD. You can also do this, like if I had AutoCAD open, I can go open, go to my computer, the download folder, and there's the CAD borders right there. So I can open it that way too. Once you have it open, you want to save as to your Google Drive. So if I go File, Save As, you want to switch it to your Google Drive, My Drive, make a folder for this class, CAD 2, and save it in your CAD 2 folder as CAD borders, which I already have it saved. The next thing you want to do is immediately do another Save As and save it as Flat Plate. That's the name of this drawing. Still save it in your CAD 2 folder, but you're going to call this now Flat Plate. So you'll have two files saved now. You have the CAD borders and the flat plate drawing, which I already have saved, so I'm not going to do it a second time. If your Google Drive does not show up when you go to save, it's because it needs to be loaded. So you can type here to search in the bottom left, type in Drive, open up your Drive file stream, and you have to load your Google Drive by signing into it. Mine's already loaded. Okay, so to start this drawing, I'm going to start with my construction lines. It's a pretty basic drawing for review. It's a 6x3 square, so it's like a piece of metal, like a flat plate of steel, and it's 5x3, not 6x3. So it's 5x3 rectangle. That's what we're going to start with. Now, a couple things too just to review. Check your OSNAP settings here. Make sure those 8 are on. Make sure polar tracking is on. And I currently have my grid and snap on. Those are kind of personal preference though. You could turn those off if you want. So when I start my line, I like to go about an inch over, an inch up from the center point here, which is the green and red 0, 0. So I go about right here. Again, it doesn't have to be there, but it's a good place to start. So I'm going to go 5, 3, 5, 3. There's my 5x3 rectangle that I started with. Next thing you want to do is use the offset tool to get your center points. You need to get this center point, that center point, this one. We'll start with this one here, and you'll notice that it's 0.375 both ways. So up 0.375 and then over 0.375 to get to this center point. So I'm going to use my offset tool. Using offset saves you a lot of time and makes things go a little bit quicker. So I do O-Enter, or you can click the offset tool up here on your Modify toolbar. So O-Enter, my distance, okay, 0.375, enter. And I'm going to click this line and go up, click this line and go over. So now I have that center point right there. So I could do this. I could switch to my visible layer, and I know that circle is a 1/2 inch radius. So I could put that in. So I have one circle in there to start. 0.5, and make sure you set it to radius. Now I got to get these next two center points. So going, up, it's 1 inch for this one and 1.25 for that one. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is go up. Now I'll use offset. So offset, O-Enter, 1, enter. And then the second one is offset, 1.25, enter. So we figured out how far up they go. Now we got to go over. So we already did the 0.375. Next up is 2.375 to this one, and then 1.5. So those would be my next two offsets right there. Offset, so O enter, 2.375. And I click this one, go over, offset, 1.5. So now I have these center points. 1 inch up, 1.25 over, and this. So I have these two center points there. Now the size of these holes are 0.75 and 0.5. That's the distance all the way across. So that's going to make these a diameter. In fact, all the holes remaining on here are going to be diameters. The first one we did was a radius. That's the only one that's a radius. Everything else on here is diameter. So 0.75 and 0.5 because it goes all the way across. That's a diameter. So I'm going to switch my circle to diameter. Now this one's going to be the lower one because it was 1 inch up. And then get another diameter circle. And this is the upper one because that was the 1.25. And this one is 0.5. And what I'll do is I'll grab a line. I'm still on visible layer. Going to go from the left edge down and the right edge down. Hit escape. Hit enter. I'll remember I want a line. Left edge, go down. Right edge, go down, using that quadrant O-snap. Here, I can trim a little bit. So let's trim is the scissors, so that's a TR enter. I click the lines that I just drew. Enter, and I want to get rid of the bottom half of that circle. This one over here, I'll do a TR enter. I'm going to click the bottom purple line and the left side. Enter, and I can get rid of this little piece in here, and then right there. All right, there's another circle up here. So I got to go up 0.875 and then over 1 inch. This should be a 1 inch dimension right here. 0.875 up, 1 inch over. So offset, 0.875. Again, I'm using offset. O enter, 0.875. And that's from this one. And I go up. And actually, it works out that it matches up perfect with this line that I already offset. You can check that by going here, too, and just putting a dimension. So that's actually, I already have it, 0.875. And then offset 1 inch over. Here, so O enter, 1 enter. So that's going to be that center point. And that circle is a diameter of 0.625. Okay, and I can delete this. Another circle I got to get is up here. This one's going to be, so I go 1 inch up. So that's a 1 inch offset up here, and then 0.833 over. I'm only going to do one of them. So offset, 1 inch. Offset, 0.833. And that's going to put me right here, this one on the left. And you can always double check, like I got two lines there. Which one is it? It's the one on the left. You can always double check. So that is a diameter. That little hole is 0.25. Again, using offset, really easy, helped me get all my center points. Last thing is I have 4 more holes here. I don't have to even do them. There's a tool called Array, which will let me copy this across 0.833 spacing. So it'll work really nice for this drawing right here. So the Array tool is another modifier. It's right here. It's called Rectangular Array. And you can see in the preview there how you can copy an object in a combination of rows or columns. So we're going to click on that, or you can also type in Array and hit enter. First, you got to select the object you want to copy, which would be the hole I drew. So you have to have one done first. Hit enter. Now, double check. There's 3 options for array. There's a path and a polar. We're going to use those later on. But for this one, we want to make sure we're using rectangular. It gives you a preview of what it looks like if you closed it. But obviously, that's not what we want. We want one, or we want, let's see, we want 1, 2, 3, 4. This one counts still, so we have 5 columns and 1 row. And the spacing is 0.833. So we want to set this up to be 5 columns, 1 row, and spacing in between the columns is 0.833. The spacing between the rows doesn't even matter because I only have 1. I'm going to hit enter. The preview looks good to me, and I can click the green check mark to close it. The other thing you're going to want to do is select this outside rectangle that we did, switch it to visible. Now what I can do is go and turn off my construction layer with turning the light bulb off, and you'll see I have to trim just a little bit more. And a little trick here, there's something called quick trim, which is TR, enter, enter. So hit enter twice, and then right now you can really click anything to trim. So there we go. We have the part finished.